Mike, you mentioned validating the idea, and I think that's a big part for a lot of memberships. You know, I've seen either whether it's like from friends or whatever. Like I sometimes somebody's idea makes you just scratch your head, and you're like, is that really going to work? And then it blows up, and you're surprised, like, oh, I didn't think that would work, right? And then other times you're like, oh, that's a really good idea. Somebody should make that, and then they make it, and there's nothing. It's crickets, right? So I guess this is a question that I have as the growth manager here, and probably for both Blair and Mike as well, because Blair, MemberPress came to be because you were working on memberships, right? But how do you validate an idea? How do you know whether it's something you should pursue before you go and like build it and hope they come?
Yeah, so I love that you used that framing there, because that's always how I put this. You know, build it and they will come is not a valid strategy. Field of Dreams like lied to everybody.
Yeah, it's a great movie, though.
Great movie, but it lied to everybody. Build it and they will come is not a valid business strategy.
If you hear a voice in your head that says that might give you more validation.
Maybe. But no, I think the thing is, this is the part people skip past, because we have a great idea and we get excited about it, right? And so we think, well, we're excited, everyone else is going to be excited too. And so we tell our spouse, or we tell our friends, or we tell our, dog walker, and they were like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. But these people aren't your potential member base. But we get a little bit of the wrong validation, and then we steamroll in, spend a bunch of money, waste a bunch of time, launch it, and nobody's there, right? So we need to validate a whole bunch of different things. We've got to validate, first and foremost, does the audience you're thinking you will serve actually exist, right? Instead of just assuming, like, are these people actually out there? And do they have the problem you think that they do? So you need to understand, what are their problems? What keeps them up at night? What is the itch that they need to scratch? Like, what are they struggling with? What they're complaining about? So you need to understand what your audience's problems are, validate that they are real, validate that your concept for a solution is actually the right fit, right? If somebody's major problem is, my arm is broken, and you're busy designing, a lovely pair of socks, then it doesn't compute, it doesn't match up. So you need to validate that your solution is actually adequate and relevant. You then need to validate really that problem solution match is so strong that people will put money in their pocket and pay you to solve it. Not every problem is the one that people will pay to solve. You need to make sure that you are a painkiller and not a vitamin, right? A must-have and not a nice-to-have. And then you need to validate that you can put all of the pieces together, because you could have the biggest audience with the strongest problems, with the best solution you could ever imagine that they'll pay a fortune for. But if you're not able to connect the dots, if you can't reach those audiences, if you can't sell your solution to them, then there's going to be a problem there. So there's a lot of things that you need to validate there. One of the biggest things people miss out on is actually talking to their audience. They are going to give you most of the answers. Data and feedback are the only two magic bullets of business. Your audience will give you that feedback, so you need to talk to them. You need to verify their needs, their surface needs, so the stuff that they tell you they want, and their deeper root needs, the stuff that they actually do have to have in order to fix whatever's wrong, to achieve whatever they're seeking. And once you've kind of sussed all of that out, you need to test the market. So you can test it on a very light, very surface level, just by speaking to your audience, by putting your concept out there, by saying, hey, listen, I'm looking to help people like you who are having this problem with this solution so that you can do X, Y, or Z without headaches, without friction. This is the concept. This is the elevator pitch. Does that ring a bell? Does it resonate? Does that sound like something you'd want to be part of? So that surface level, speak to the right people and get that initial reaction is better than speaking to your dog walker. But then you should really be looking to validate your idea by testing the market with an MVP. So what I tend to recommend, you have an MVP, minimum viable product, is if your membership is likely to have kind of workshops, for example, a monthly expert workshop, try selling just a one-off workshop. Try selling a masterclass, a 90-minute expert masterclass that looks how it will look when you do this in your membership. That is as substantial as it would be if it was in your membership. And try to sell it to that audience for the same price as 1 month of what your membership will be. Some of this you won't know. You might not know early stage that you're going to charge $40 a month, $30 a month, $10 a month, but you'll have a rough idea, right? So just try selling a paid masterclass if you are going to be doing an educational based membership, and see how that goes. See what the feedback is. It's not done to generate revenue. It's just done to validate the problem solution match, your ability to sell that match, and your audience's willingness to actually invest in it. And this really is what people should be looking to do before they forge too far ahead in their membership journey, because you need some evidence, you need some proof, you need some data, you need some feedback that tells you, okay, something can work here. I've got the spark of something that is actually a viable business and not just a cool idea which might work.
One of the things that I've seen with some of our customers is that they'll already have an audience sometimes. And if they already have an audience, that's still not a guarantee that you're going to crack the code and make money at it, but it helps. It helps to be able to like have an audience and talk to them. Like, you know, we've had several people that have like a podcast audience and they're trying to figure out how to monetize, for instance, or something like that. But like, you know, whether you have an audience or not, you're still going to want some type of MVP situation going on, and you can't rely on friends and family. They will say nice things because they love you, and they don't really know, you know. So you gotta translate, you know, your hard effort into, you know, people who are looking for your solution. So